एक है आप नहीं कछ परम, सहसयान पलया न जाइए। नानक ऐसा गुर बड़ भागी पाइए। सफल दर्शन पेखत पुनीत, परसत चरण गत निर्मल रीत। पेटत संग राम गुण रवै, पार ब्रह्म की दरगे गवै। सुन कर बचन करन आघान, मन संतोख आत्म पतियान। पूरा गुर अखयो जाका मंत्र, अमृत दृष्ट पेख होए संत। गुण बेअंत कीमत नहीं पाए, नानक सुभावे तिस नए मिलाए। जिह्वाए पुस्तक अनेक, सतपुरख पूरन विवेक। काहू बोल न पहुँचत प्राणी, अगम अगोचर प्रभु निर्वाणी। निराहार निर्वैर सुखदाई, ताकि कीमत किनै न पाई। अनेक भगत बंदन नित करह, चरण कमल हृदय सिमरह। सद बलिहारी सतगुर अपने, नानक जिस पर सार। ऐसा प्रभ जपुने, हर रस पावै जन कोय। अमृत पीवै अमर सोहोय, उस पुर का नाही कदे विनाश। जाकै मन प्रगटे गुण दास, आठ पहर हर का नाम ले। सच उपदेश सेवक को दे, मोह माया कै संग न ले। मन में रखे हर हरे, अंधकार दीपक परगासे। नानक परम मोह दुख कहते नासे। तपत माहि ठांड वरताई, अंध भया दुख नाठे पाई। जन्म मरण के मिटे अंदेसे, साधु के पूरन उपदेसे। पौ चूका निरपौ होए बसे, सगल व्याध मन देखै न से। जिसका सातिन कृपा तारी, साध संग जप नाम मुरारी। थित पाई चूके ब्रह्म गमन, सुन नानक हर हर जस श्रवण। निर्गुण आप सरगुण पियोहि, कला तार जिन सगली मोहि। अपने चरित प्रभु आप बनाए, अपनी कीमत आपे पाए। हर दिन दूजा नाही कोय, सर्व निरंतर में को सोय। ओत पोत रवियारू रंग, भय परगास साध कै संग। रच रचना अपनी कल धारी, अनक बार नानक बलिहारी। सुनो साथ न चाले बिन भजन, बिखिया सगली छार। हर हर नाम कमावना, नानक यह तन सार। अष्टपदी संत जना मिल करो विचार। एक सिमर नाम आधार, अवर उपा सब मीत विसारो। जन कमल हृद मह उधारो, कर्म कारण सो प्रभ समरथ। दृढ़ कर गो नाम हर वक्त, एह तन संचो होव भगवंत। संत जना का निर्मल मंत, एक आस राखो मन माहे। सर्व रोग नानक मिट जाए, जिस तन को चार गुंठ उठावै। सो तन हर सेवा ते पावै, जिस सुख को नित बाँछै नीत। सो सुख साधु संग परित, जिस शोभा को कर पलि करनी। सा शोभा पज हर की शरणी, अनिको पावी रोग न जाए। रोग मिटाए हर अवखद लाए, सर्व निधान में हर नाम निधान। जप नानक दरगह परवान, मन पर बोधो हर कै नाय। दह दिस तावत आवे ठाए, ताको बिघ्न न लागे कोय। जा कर दे बसै हर सोय, कल ताती ठांडा हर नाव। सिमर सिमर सदा सुख पाओ, पौबिन सै पूरन होए आस, भगत पाया तम परगास। तित कर जाए बसै अविनाशी, कौ नानक काटी जम फांसी। तत विचार कहे जन साचा, जन्म मरै सो काचो काचा। आवागमन मिटै प्रभ सेव, आपे आग शरण गुरुदेव। एवं रत्न जन्म का होए उधार, हर हर सिमर प्राण आधार। अन उपाव न छूटन हारे, सिमृत शास्त्र वेद विचारे। हर की भगत करो मन लाए, मन बंचत नानक फल पाए। संग न चालस तेरे तना, तू क्या लपटावे मूरख मना। सुत मीत कुटुंब अरबंता, इनते कहो तुम कवन सनाथा। राज रंग माया विस्तार, इनते कहो कवन छुटकार। असस्ती रथ असवारी, झूठा डंफू झूठ पसारी। जिंदगी तिस बुझै न बिगाना, नाम विसार नानक पछताना। गुर की मत तू ले है आने, भक्त बिना बहु डूबे स्याने। हर की भगत करो मन मीत, निर्मल होए तुम्हारो चीत। चरण कमल राखो मन माहे, जन्म जन्म के किल बिख जाहे। आप जपो अवर नाम जपावो, सुनत कहत रहत गत पावो। सारपूत सत हर को नाम, सहज सुभाए नानक गुण गाओ। गुण गावत तेरी उतरस मैल, बिनस जाए हाँ मैं बिख फैल। होए अचिंत बसै सुख नाथ, सास ग्रास हर नाम समार। छाड़ से आनप सगली मना, साध संग पावै सतना। हर पूंजी सच करो व्यवहार, इहाँ सुख दरगह जयकार। सर्व निरंतर एको दे, और नानक जाके मस्तक लेख। एको जप एको सालाहे, एक सिमर एको मन आहे। एकस के गुण गाओ अनंत, मन तन जाप एक भगवंत। एको एक एक हरिया, पूर्ण पूर रहो प्रभु ज्ञान। अनंत विस्तार एक ते भय, एक आराध पराछत गए। मन तन अंतर एक प्रभु राता, गुर प्रसाद नानक एक जाता। सलोक फिरत प्रभु आया, परया तो शरणाए। नानक की प्रभु बेनती, अपनी भक्ति लाए। अष्टपदी जाचक जन जाचै प्रभु दान, कर कृपा दे हो हर नाम। साजना की मांगो तू, पार ब्रह्म मेरी शरदा को। सदा सदा प्रभु के गुण गाऊं, सास सास प्रभु तुम्हें त्याऊं। चरण कमल स्यों लागै प्रीत, भगत करो प्रभु की नित नीत। एक ओर
सब कुछ उन पर वार दूरे। तन मन तन और प्राण, सतगुरु है रंग रेज। चुनर मेरी रंग डारी, कह कबीर रंग रेज गुरु रे। मुझ पर हुए दयाल, शीतल चुनरी ओढ़ के रे पई हूँ मगन निहाल सत।
Hello everyone, welcome to today's satsang. Nice to see you all again. Today it's Friday, so everyone have a lovely weekend. And we will start our schedule with the Sabbath by Nisha. My beloved Sadhguru is my protector. And then we have a talk by Michael and a talk by Dr. Chan. The topic is Mind as a Friend and as a Thought. Then we will proceed to 5 minutes of meditation and we will watch Master's video. And finally, we will meditate with love and devotion. Thank you so much. Do I have to read the translation or it's in the video? Does anybody know?
Does anybody know if the translation is in the video? I didn't watch.
It's in the video, yes.
Oh,
It's in the video? Okay,
okay,
cool.
then we can
All right,
start.
I'll play it.
Thank you.
Radha Swami, today's hymn is by Guru Ramdas. Here Guru Ramdas ji says, "My beloved Sadguru is my protector. I am a helpless child. My Guru is my mother, father. The lotus of my heart blossoms through my Guru's nectar. He is the mind, body and spirit of my life. I know no other than my Guru. It's only through one's great good fortune that one gets to meet a true saint who can take you to the beloved Lord. I have thoroughly searched my mind and body how to meet my beloved. Seek the company of saints who have merged with the Lord is the answer. Without seeing my Guru, I cannot sleep. My mind and body are afflicted with the pain of separation. Dear Lord, please shower mercy on me so I may get to meet my Guru." On meeting him, Nanak Das blossoms. Thus, Guru is my protector. मेरा प्यारा प्रीतम सतगुर रखवाला हम बारक दीन करो प्रतिपाला। मेरा प्यारा प्रीतम प्रीतम मेरा मात पिता गुरु सतगुर पूरा, गुर जल मिल कमल बिगसे जियो। मधुसूदन मेरे मन तन प्राणा, ओ हर बिन दूजा अवर न जाना। कोई सजन संत मिले वड भागी, मैं हर प्रभ प्यारा दसे जियो। मेरा प्यारा प्रीतम सतगुर रखवाला, हम बारक दीन करो प्रतिपाला। हम बारक दीन करो प्रतिपाला। हाँ मन तन खोजी पाल पलाई, क्यों प्यारा प्रीतम मिले मेरी माई। मिल सत्संगत खोज दसाई, विच संगत हर प्रभ वसै जियो। मेरा प्यारा प्रीतम सतगुर रखवाला, हम बारक दीन करो प्रतिपाला। हम बारक दीन करो प्रतिपाला। मैं बिन गुरु देखे नींद न आवे, मेरे मन तन वेदन गुरु बिरहों लगावे। हर हर दया करो गुर मेल हो, जन नानक गुर मिल रहसी जियो। मेरा प्यारा प्रीतम सतगुर रखवाला, हम बारक दीन करो प्रतिपाला। हम बारक दीन करो प्रतिपाला। मेरा प्यारा प्रीतम प्रीतम। Thank you, Master. Thank you, Lord. Radha Swami.
Thank you, Master. Thank you, Lord, for Nisha, for our dear sister, for her beautiful godly voice, for intoxicating us with her seva, for our beloved father, Ishwar Puri Ji. Wow. I just love your voice, sister. I can't describe how much I love your voice, your godly voice. My dear holy family, welcome to welcome to sit in the shade of love. Let's all sit in the shade of love of our perfect master, Ishwar Puri Ji. Let's go to the sorrowless land. Let's merge our life in the ocean of life. Let's get attached to the truth where errors of life leave us. Let's head towards the land of supreme bliss, where there is a frenzy of ecstasy, where it rains nectar day and night, where the harp's strings jingle, where to the land where there is no fear, where the sky is full of music, where the drums beat, where joy is full to the brim. Let's reach to the root of union between our soul and the supreme soul, the soul of our master. Yesterday we did episode 1 of Saint Kabir. Master has sent me a treasure house. He sends me a lot of stuff. Yesterday, Master, I just opened YouTube and Master sent me one of his videos when he was younger, and I'm gonna play that video today. I shared it in our group, but I'm gonna play it today and tomorrow till it's over. And yesterday, he also sent me an ocean of poetry of Saint Kabir. And if you want to know how the kingdom of God and the spiritual planes are, then it's the best from the mouth of Saint Kabir. He is just a treasure house to humanity, just like Guru Nanak, just like any saint or perfect master that walked on the face of the earth. Treasure houses of bliss, treasure houses of ecstasy, and their words, they light the holy fire in our hearts and make us long for our true home. So when I read this poetry that I prayed to Baba Sawan Singh to charge my words with his nectar and shower that nectar on all of us, when I read these words, they're going to ignite our holy fire and they want to make us long for perfection, long to slay our 5 enemies that keep us away from this beautiful land, the country of God. So I'll be reading this. I'll be reading the poetry of Saint Kabir for the next few days till they are over. And every day they're getting better and better, deeper and deeper. Just so much mysteries are unfolded and so much godly treasure is showered on us in this poetry of Saint Kabir. And then I will say a story of Saint Kabir. And guess what? Guess what? The video that I'm playing with Ishwar Puri Ji today that just came up to me yesterday by a godly coincidence. Ishwar Puri Ji in the beginning says a story of Saint Kabir. How great could that? It can't get better. It's all godly coincidences, one after the other. So let me start. Okay, Baba Sawan Singh. All right. O Lord increate, who will serve thee? Every votary offers his worship to the God of his own creation. Each day he receives service. None seek him. The perfect Brahma, the invisible Lord. They believe in 10 avatars, but no avatars can be the infinite spirit, for he suffers the results of his deeds. The Supreme One must be other than this. The yogi, the sannyasi, the ascetic are disputing one with another. Kabir says, "O brother, he who has seen that radiance of love, he is saved. The river and its waves." Okay, he is saved. Now, a new poem. The river and its way. Well, the first poem is talking about all the sannyasis, the yogis. All of them are still lost. They need the perfect one because they are all under the law of karma. That was the gist of the first poem. Okay. The river and its waves are one surf. Where is the difference between the river and its waves? When the wave rises, it is the water. And when it falls, it is the same water. Tell me, sir, where is the distinction? Because it has been named as wave shall, because it has been named as wave, shall it no longer be considered as water? Within the Supreme Brahma, the worlds are being told like beads. Look upon that rosary with the eyes of wisdom, where spring, the Lord of the seasons, reigneth. There the unstruck music sounds of itself. There the streams of light flow in all directions. Few are the men who can cross to that shore. There were millions of Krishnas there where millions of Krishnas stand with hands folded, where millions of Vishnus bow their heads, where millions of Brahmas are reading the Vedas, where millions of Shivas are lost in contemplation, where millions of Indras dwell in the sky, where the demigods and the Munis are unnumbered, where millions of Saraswatis, goddesses of music, play on the veena, there is my Lord, self-revealed, and the scent of sandal and flowers dwell in those deeps between the poles of the conscious and the unconscious. There has the mind made a swing. There on hang all beings and all words, and that swing never ceases its sway. Millions of beings are there. The sun and the moon in their courses are there. Millions of ages pass, and the swing goes on. All swing, the sky, the earth, the air, and the water. And the Lord himself taking form, and the sight of this has made Kabir a servant. Wow, what a beautiful, beautiful poem of the play of creation, where we all are swinging with the chords of love, hanging on the chords of love and swinging. Even the Lord himself. Okay, a new poem. The light of the sun, the moon, and the stars shines bright. The melody of love swells forth, and the rhythm of love's detachment beats the time. Day and night, the chorus of music fills the heavens. And Kabir says, my beloved one gleams like the lightning flash in the sky. Do you know how the moments perform their adoration? Waving its roll of lamps, the universe sings in worship. Day and night, there are the hidden banner and the secret canopy. There, the sound of the unseen. Bells is heard, Kabir says. Their adoration never ceases. There, the Lord of the universe sits on his throne. The whole world does its work and commits its errors, but few are the lovers who know the beloved. The devout seeker is he who mingles in his heart the double currents of love and detachment, like the mingling of the streams of Ganges and the Juna. Wow, holy moly. Okay. In his heart, the sacred water flows day and night. That's so beautiful. In his heart, the sacred water flows day and night. And thus the round of birth and death is brought to an end. Behold, what wonderful rest is in the Supreme Spirit, and he enjoys it who makes himself meet for it. Held by the cords of love, the swing of the ocean of joy sways to and fro, and a mighty sound breaks forth in song. See what a lotus blooms where without water. See what a lotus blooms there without water. And Kabir says, my heart's bee drinks its nectar. What a wonderful lotus it is that blooms at the heart of the spinning wheel of the universe. Only a few pure souls know of its true delight. Music is all around it, and their heart partakes of the joy of the infinite sea. Kabir says, dive thou into the ocean of sweetness. Wow. Thus let all errors of life and death flee away. Behold how the thirst of the five senses is quenched there, and the three forms of misery are no more. Ah, inshallah, God willing. Kabir says, it is the sport of the unattainable one. Look within and behold how the moon beams of that hidden one. Shine, shine in you, there falls the rhythmic beat of life and death. Rapture wells forth. Wow, rapture wells forth. And all space is radiant with light. There the unstruck music is sounded. It is the music of the love of the three worlds. There millions of lamps of sun and of moon are burning. Wow. There millions of lamps of sun and of moon are burning. There the drum beats and the lover swings in play. There love songs resound and light reigns and showers, and the worshipper is entrenched in the taste of the heavenly nectar upon life and death. There is no separation between them. The right hand and the left hand are one and the same, Kabir says. There the wise man is speechless, or this truth may never be found in Vedas or in books. I have had my seat on the self-poised one. I have drunk of the cup of the ineffable. Who? I have found the key of the mystery. Wow, I have found the key of the mystery. I have reached the root of union. Traveling by no track, I have come to the sorrowless land very easily. Has the mercy of the great Lord come upon me? They have sung of him as infinite and unattainable. But in my meditation have seen him. Without sight, that is indeed. But in my meditations have seen him. Without sight is indeed the sorrowless land, and none know the path that leads there. Only he who is on the path has surely transcended all sorrow. Wonderful is that land of rest to which no merit can win. It is the wise who has seen it, is the wise who have sung of it. This is the ultimate world, but can any express its marvelous savor? He who has savored it once, he knows what joy can give, Kabir says. Knowing it, the ignorant man becomes wise. Knowing it, the ignorant man becomes wise. And the wise man becomes speechless. And the wise man becomes speechless and silent. The worshipper is utterly inebriated. His wisdom and his detachments are made perfect. Wow, his wisdom and his detachments are made perfect. He drinks from the cup of the inbreathing and the outbreathing of love. There, the whole sky is filled with sound, and there, that music is made without fingers and without strings. There, the game of pleasure and pain does not cease. Kabir says, if you merge your life in the ocean of life, you will find your life. If you merge your life in the ocean of life, you will find your life. Ah, I love that. In the supreme land of bliss, what a frenzy of ecstasy there is in every hour, and the worshipper is pressing out and drinking the essence of the hours. He lives in the life of Brahma. I speak truth, for I have accepted truth in life. I am now attached to truth. I have swept all tinsels away, Kabir says. Thus is the worshipper set free from fear. Thus have all errors of life and of death left him. There, the sky is filled with music. There, it rains nectar. Wow, it rains nectar. There, it rains nectar. There the harp strings jingle, and there the drums beat. What a secret splendor is there! In the mansion of the sky, there is no mention is made of the rising and the setting of the sun in the ocean of manifestation, which is light of love day and night, which is the light of love day and night, are felt to be one joy, forever, no sorrow, no struggle. Can't wait. There have I seen joy filled to the brim, perfection of joy, no place for error. Is there, Kabir says. There have I witnessed the sport of one bliss. I have known in my body the sport of the universe. I have escaped from the error of this world. The inward and the outward are become as one sky. The infinite and the finite are united. I am drunken with the sight of this, of all this. I am drunken with the sight of this all. This light of thine fills the universe. The lamp of love that burns on, salver of knowledge. Kabir says, there error cannot enter, and the conflict of life and death is felt no more. The middle, that's it. And there the conflict of life and death is no more. To be continued tomorrow. And now we are going to read the story of Saint Kabir. Beautiful story. It says, the Lord is the doer. Which reminds me to tell you that, since Master is Master controls our life moment by moment, and this world has its ups and downs, and nothing really, everything is His will, and we have to surrender to His will. Yesterday, our brother who created the Ishwar Puri G group in Facebook did not want us to post there anymore. So we are packing our bags and leaving. And we will be only posting in the Ishwar Puri G daily satsang group in the Facebook, and of course on all our groups in Telegram and in Telegram. So it's just God's will. So please, if you did not join our group, I have put the link in the Ishwar Puri G group for our satsang group, daily satsang group. So please join, so you can get the live links and the shabds and the poetry and the stories and the talks of all our Savadars. It will be only in our groups. Okay, so let me read the Lord is the doer. When Kabir settled down in Kashi and began to give spiritual discourses, the fanatical Hindu and Muslim priests soon turned against him, for his teachings were different from theirs. Kabir said, always that men should discover God within themselves rather than engage in rites and rituals and the worship of idols in the temples. But the priest's hostility to Kabir had little or no effect. He continued to teach any and all of the seekers after truth who came to him, and the number of his followers grew greater and greater. The priests, finding that all their efforts were of no avail, finally devised a cruel but clever plan. Throughout Kashi and even beyond its limit, they sent invitations saying that Kabir was a millionaire and was giving a great yajna or religious feast on a certain date. Everyone who wished to come to it would be welcome. When the day for the supposed feast arrived, thousands of people of all classes and conditions flocked to Kabir's humble dwelling. Being a poor weaver, Kabir had no money or food with which to feed this multitude, and to avoid the unpleasant happenings, he went to the outskirts of the town and remained there, sitting quietly beneath a shady tree. But as soon as he had left his house, the Lord himself came in the guise of Kabir, arranged a magnificent feast, and fed everyone of the thousands. Everyone who was there went back to his home, repeating, "Praise to Kabir, praise to Kabir." They were repeating, "Praise to Kabir, praise to Kabir." Late in the evening, as the daylight was departing, Kabir returned to his house and was told of what had happened. Filled with elation, he explained, "Kabir has not done it, nor will he, nor has he the capacity to do it. Oh, know ye that the Lord has done it, but the praise has gone to Kabir." Wow. Without thee, O Lord, I am valueless. But with thee, O my back, O Lord, I am priceless. Without thee, O Lord, I am valueless. But with thee at my back, O Lord, I am priceless, Kabir says. And then there is a saying from Saint Paltu, "My own effort can count for nothing. It is the Lord who is the doer. Give he and takes he himself, and yet Paltu gains the fame." Wow. So we have to learn that our own effort can count for nothing. It is the Lord who is the doer. Gives he and takes he himself. So whatever he does, it is his will, and we have to surrender and accept. Kabir said, "Give me the gift of devotion, O my Guru. Nothing else do I desire except thy service day and night." And this is also our prayer to our Holy Master, to give us the gift of devotion so we can serve him day and night. So we can serve him day and night in this life and go back to that land of bliss. I don't know what Kabir was describing, if it is the Parbrahm or the something in the region of space and mind. Um, Maybe somebody else can tell us. Okay, so thank you, Master, for the seva. And I welcome my very dear brother Chand. Can't wait to hear his words. And Dr. Chand, we miss your chat in the Telegram group. Please start chatting godly stuff over there.
Hello. Thank you very much, Michael. Today you have explained the beautiful areas where you were saying that whether it is the creation of the mind or is the Sachkhand area where Kabir is enjoying. And definitely Kabir is enjoying the Sachkhand area and where all these things are there. And then one can really feel that particular part, and that's good, on Telegram. Sometimes I do not know how to really operate that, but then I'll ask my boys to help me to do that. So
Yes, and brother Puneet can help you also.
okay, that will be good, So he can always post some areas there. Now today's topic, what we decided is something very nice, It is mind as a friend and as a foe. It can be an enemy, it can be a friend, So how really, in some of the talks, somebody was very keen to know what mind is. So understanding mind is very important to reach that stage, what Michael was explaining today, that region. And to come up to that region is very important to understand the mind, so that you can use this mind to go to that region, because mind is holding you. So let us understand that how mind operates. As I say, it is a co-aim. Co-aim means correlation of attention with information and material. So how your attention is operating with your mind, which is information and laws of nature, and the material body and the body needs, So what is this correlation of your attention with all this? Attention belongs to the region which Michael was explaining now, that region, such Khand area and beyond. So your attention actually is operating from there, and how you really, once Lord became from one to many. I'll again say those points, that the Lord was one and alone, and he was in bliss, enjoying within himself. And in that bliss, in the stride of bliss, the being of light, in the stride of bliss, he felt like loving. And to love, this being of light became from one to many, because he was all alone. Now he is many. Now he been loving us and we've been loving him. That is the key area where all those musics are going on in such kind, and we are really enjoying. And at that level, where time and material do not exist. So I think all my friends should understand this, that you belong to a region where time and material do not exist. So what really happens there? That as soon as you think of anything, it just appears within no time, because there is no time at all there. And whatever is your wish, to have that nectar or to enjoy that beautiful music and to love. So this is a region of love, where whatever you think about your beloved, the way you want to love, it all happens there the next moment. If you need a huge, beautiful house, it appears there. And then in no time it happens, because you have got that ability. You are part of all knowing, all pervading. So you are loving him and he is loving you. So there, one out of us, which is known as Kal, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, as Michael was explaining about these deities, because there are many of them, So somebody explained them as neutron, proton, and electron. Some scientists explained that part. Now, what I'm trying to say is that one out of us created these opportunities to look into the huge creation, the expanding universe, where laws of nature are there. And, he used that Shabad to create. The Kal is connected to Dayal all the time. Now, it used the powers of the Dayal and created all those, through those frequencies, through those Shabad, it created the whole cosmos. And this cosmos has got laws of nature and material bodies, floating into it. Now, as souls, we looked into it, and Carl said, I have made this time-bound material creation. Please come and visit. So we decided, okay, let us go and see this. Since we are also creators, part of the creator, we thought, let us use his laws of nature in his region. We can also show something, what we can create. So we started the journey. And what really happened, we looked into this universal mind, which has got tremendous amount of possibilities. So looking into that, we created our own causal mind and causal body as a sketch, So this mind, now we are talking, that how mind, we can be made a friend out of our minds, We use this mind and acquired the mind to create further. So as a friend, we acquired the mind with all those abilities, as Ishwar Puriji also explains, that those possibilities, the creating possibilities, every time something new. So what you did, you started using all those abilities of the time and created a causal body and a causal mind. Causal body as a sketch, because the cause was to come and feel the creation. So you further refined it into astral mind, those perceptions, as sense perceptions. So we had all those softwares there to sense, and then we created the body again by using the mind, by doing all those imaginations we created, that how we want to feel, because we needed these senses to sense whatever is here. So we created our own bodies, and how we started from a single cell to graduate to the crown of creation, the human body. Every time I explain this. But now you look at how mind as a friend helped you to do all this. And you had come here only to experience this, not to own this, because this is all temporary. This is not sustainable. And every time you are entering into something which is not sustainable. The physical mind, physical body is not sustainable for long, less than 100 years, around that much of time. And all those aspects, like lust, anger, ego, attachment, deceit, fears, and worries, they are all not sustainable at all. So you had experienced it. And now Ishwar Purji says that who wants to go back? This is what is your free will now. Now, once you have created the whole thing yourself, as very rightly he says, that looking into those opportunities available at the universal mind and with the universal body all around you, so you select now. You have selected certain areas. You wrote your own DVD, as he says. I would like to say, yes, you decided to get into this venture and you just wanted to have this experience to come here. But once with this friendly mind, you used it for creating. So you created from a single cell. Now you imagine, please. Now each part of your body, which started from a single cell to graduate to the crown of creation, the human body, you can feel that this body has got all those fibers in it, the motor nerves, the veins. It is all carrying everything. So this is 100 trillion cells, If there is a small little pin pricking in your hand, what really happens? That cell which feels the pain conveys to the next one and to the next one, and then it reaches the brain. Then the brain commands the other hand to take out that pin which is hurting. Now look at this wonderful system you have created. Who has created? You have created, my dear, because you are part of the absolute. You are a capable force. You are part of all knowing, all pervading. As I explained with the story of the seed for the children, that how that seed already knew in advance how to use solar energy. We are making those solar panels now. But that seed is doing that photosynthesis by using the solar energy, developing that to energize the seed to, further develop those tentacles which are going into the ground as roots to suck in those materials from that soil. And then through the stem, it is going to fructify into so many grains, You can imagine this. That energy which is connected to the absolute is energizing everything. It is using all those possibilities and growing. And that from that single cell, you graduated to the crown of creation, the human body. You did it. Now, this confidence of yours that you are part of the creator is visible here. Now, you should not get into an ego here, because the mind quietly comes in and tells you you have done it. So you start having that ego that you know and you have done it. Whereas He is doing it through you because you are connected with the Absolute through Shabad, through Nad. You are connected, and all the time He's with you. Every moment He's with you. Now, this energy flow, which we call it as audible stream of life, which Dr. Julian Johnson put this beautiful name, audible stream of life. The music, which is life-giving, is connected to you, and it is continuously flowing from its source. So the source is energizing you, source is giving you all the knowledge, and that is how the mind been using all that. So as a friend, we use the mind to come up to the crown of creation, the human body. Now what is happening, that how the mind is behaving like a foe, like an enemy, because it doesn't want to lose you, you as a soul, because you are working for him now, because all those things, the mind is using you, as I explained that how this physical body, the hunger, withdraws the attention, and because the hunger is there, the body needs. So body is using your attention, your divine energy, to quench the thirst or the hunger of this body. So what is happening? The attention takes you towards the kitchen, as I say always. By the time you're walking, the mind adds on the information of taste and all other things. Now the mind is informing, the money is lying there, the shop is there, this is where the vehicle is standing. You go and bring it for that taste. So hunger and taste, because taste is part of the mind and hunger is part of the body. Body needs, it's a material body. It runs on it. So this is how body and mind been using you day in and day out like a donkey. This realization that how this enemy, if we call him an enemy, then the problems will start, because then we are using our arms, our ammunition, our guns to kill this enemy. And that enemy is also using all its guns and everything. These guns are what? Lust, anger, ego, attachment, deceit, fears, and worries. So we are trying to use our things, and he's doing it his own. And then the fight goes on. We cannot win this fight because it is so huge. So this foe, as we say, mind as a foe, but we cannot win this war. Because Ishwar Puriji also been saying that time, we cannot win this war. So what has to happen? That if we make him a friend, then things will start happening. And it will facilitate our journey back to the home. Because the mind has to know, as Michael was explaining, that beautiful area of the Sachkhand, where music is going on and all that cup of wine is there, and we are all enjoying, loving with the masters and everything. All the satsangis are together there. We are all in love, enjoying with each other in that region. So now this mind has to be told, as Michael was telling today, that there is a wonderful region there. Oh, my dear mind, if you taste that once, these tastes are not sustainable here, but there they are much more sustainable. So gradually from the physical part, the mind helps you as a friend to go into the causal mind and into the astral mind and astral body, where the pleasures are much more real, as explained, So you start enjoying there a little more because they are much more sustainable there. Because then you are really enjoying in the astral area these kind of things, Then once you know that this astral is also a time limited area, again it will finish. Now if you encourage your mind to go to the next step, come on, oh my dear mind, you have done enough here. You have done enough in doing this engineering and technology and medical science and everything you've done here. You have explored the mountains, you have explored the seas, you have done all that. Space also you are exploring. Now let us explore the inner regions. You will enjoy this. You know, this is how you are suggesting to your mind. Oh, my dear mind, as my mother tells me, oh, my dear mind, I've been helping you, doing your things all this time, as 24 hours in a day I'm serving you. So you please give me 2.5 hours, 10% time. And you have to now make this mind feel better with you so that lovingly the mind comes along with you. You give him the taste of these worldly things because Ishwar Puriji said very clearly that what you have to do, that if you are living the concept that you are connected there, and with those divine attributes you have to run here, you have to learn how to ignore the mind, and then you start giving certain taste of that divinity to the mind, and mind starts enjoying. Because my mother said this mind will remain up to the universal mind, and it will merge into that once you start rising above here. So from the physical mind and physical body, you rise above in your astral mind and astral body, then causal mind and causal body. And if you go ahead, then the mind will remain with the universal mind, and you get dealing and you go ahead into the Sachkhand area. You cannot be there with your mind, it is beyond mind. So you have to learn how to ignore the mind. That's a beauty. And you cannot make him a foe. You cannot make him an enemy, because you have to make him a friend. So how to really make him a friend is an art. And it is only possible one thing, my dear. And that one thing is love. Because once you fall in love, then all other senses of the body, like lust, anger, ego, attachment, deceit, fears, and worries, they become zero here. And this is how the mind has to be tamed, He's very shrewd. Now, how really you can help the mind to understand few things and get the taste of it? Because now what really happens once we sit in meditation and sometimes we sleep. So body needs uh, rest and all that. So body starts liking the meditation, but generally what happens? We sleep during the meditation. So this is how the body is enjoying, and it started getting along with you. Now the mind has to understand. And since the mind is spinning, something very, very important to understand, that mind is talking all the time, as Ishwar Puriji will also, he explained you that. And it is true. The mind is all the time speaking. It is moving all the time into past and future, past and future. How? Because it is part of the universal mind, and universal mind runs your mind. The whole universe is moving, my dear. It is not stationary. You are the fellow who is stationary, anchored into your self. That is the center. And that center is stationary. All other things are moving. The whole universe is moving. Now the universal mind, which is moving and making the planet revolve, and then it is revolving around the sun, and the sun is going around the galaxy. Everything is moving here, my dear. Nothing is stable. So now, if you are attached to the mind, mind will keep on spinning you into past and future. As sometimes I give that example, it's like a whirlpool. It sucks you in. Now, if you ignore it, you cannot go there. You can ignore the mind. So now learning how to ignore the mind is a beautiful area, that you make him a friend and tell him, come on, let's have a little bit of time here. Then gradually the mind also is along with you. Now, once you rise above in the astral mind, you feel much better. There's a big room. And then if you start giving that taste to the mind of the astral region, then gradually you give it a taste of the causal region. And then he knows that whatever he wants, he can do. Because most of the people in all other religions, because even Lord Krishna says, I am Mahakal, means he's part of time. It created time. And then he writes in the 4th chapter, 34th shloka, what he says, that the moksha, to get beyond, is only with the saints. If you keep the company of the saints, they can tell you, I will give you good results out of your good deeds, bad results out of your bad deeds. So here is an area of good and bad. It is not a moksha, it is not nirvana, it is not emancipation. So it is only possible once you tell the mind that you are struggling with me here because these sense perceptions are feeling that pain. As body does not feel, it is the astral mind which feels the pain of the body. And all those problems, as body and mind together create emotions, and emotions behave like terrorists with you. And this is how you're feeling that pain. To take out that pain, the subject today is friend or a foe. The mind, how to really deal with the mind. We got to make him a friend, though no other way. My mother very clearly told me that you cannot fight the mind, it is not possible. It is so huge. It has covered you from one layer to the next and next to the next layer. So the, physical, astral, causal, and universal, you are just in a big trap. So what really happens, even in meditation, from the third eye center, what my mother tells me, that in that darkness, you keep on watching in the center, don't see here and there, just put your glaza, put your complete attention into the center of that. Even if you see any of the demigods or anything, so you have to see at the center of the head, even the masters appear. So whether the master appearing is part of the mind, is it mind which is playing with you? Then you got to see the center of the head of your master even. And then gradually, if you keep on seeing there, the picture will appear. If it is not true, then it will disappear. And if it is true, it will stay there. Now, this is how then the dialogue starts and all those things happen. Now, basically, the mind can create the figures of your master there. And then again, it can dislodge you from there. So my mother tells me the second word, in our initiation, we get those 5 words. So she tells me that one has to be alert, that the minds, all these minds can dissuade you. It can rather sway your attention into different directions. So better remain alert. That's what the second word means. Because she explained me that way, that to come out of darkness to light, the first word, and then second word, she told me to remain alert when you are meditating. Because that alertness is managing this system 24/7. You just get acquainted with this thing. Your digestive system is on throughout the night. Your breathing is going on, my dear, and everything is running, the blood is flowing, everything is happening. So that alert entity in you, your soul, is managing this. It has only provided those other areas, information, mind, and then the sense perceptions and other things. And that's how you feel. But the energy which is energizing these both, that energy energizes the universal mind and the universal body. The same energy is energizing your causal mind and causal body. The same energy is energizing your astral mind and astral body. The same one is managing here in the physical form. The physical mind and physical body is being run by that energy. And 24/7, it doesn't need any rest. So once you get connected, and even in Harvard University, it was proved that half an hour of deep meditation gives you complete night's rest. So you can create time. And you are capable because you created time and you created material. And it's all imaginary again, he tells you. Now, this is what so many secrets of spirituality are known to this group. The people who are connected with Ishwar Puri Ji, we have done certain basic parts. The creation is one living entity having three basics: floating material bodies, the universal mind, and the absolute. We are part of that. As my finger is part of my body, I am also three. My body is made out of that. My mind I have acquired. My soul is connected with the absolute, including that seed has got three things: body, mind, and soul. Each living being is that. Now, once we understand this, my dear, now we are the fellows. That energy in us has created all this. How big confidence is that? That how this I, which is much more complex than your brain, has been created by that energy, my dear. How that RNA, DNA has got all that information, which is your mind, of course. So mind collected all those informations in your RNA, DNA. Millions of strands are there. Who's energizing them? That energy is energizing. You can't do that. You can't create this crown of creation, the human body, each organ, and how each organ is connected to each thing. And it's so lovely to understand this part scientifically. Look at the medical science, how things are connected within your body, my dear. Who's doing it? So now here you are understanding the abilities of your own self, which is connected to its source and operating here. If we leave all that ego, we are connected, my dear. We are all the time, we remain connected because that energy is operating here. And if we really want to meditate, as Ishwar Viji says, we all agree on to that. If we are doing our Simran fine, we are connected. It is meditating all the time, 24 hours. Instead of, as he was explaining, 2.5 hours and 21.5 hours, that we are busy in our jobs. Once we know that that energy is running it, so it will give you all those intuitions to run here. And the life will become so easy and so happy, I tell you. Because once you have got that confidence that you are connected there, and you must remember that permanent love is there. So all the time, in your dreams, in your meditation, you remain connected with that love. All those loving people around you, you are full with them. So we are loving each other there at that level. Here there are laws, the distances, other things, But there are different laws, The laws are to love, that we are all loving, all those ecstasies, as Michael was explaining today, that it's all ecstatic there. The orgasms, let me say, are much better there. So now you enjoy everything because all those sense perceptions, as you leave, then only two things remain: seeing and listening. Other sense perceptions are dropped at the astral level. And then you go to the causal area, and then you go beyond. So there are only two things are there. Those two things you enjoy, my dear, listening and seeing, and then it all merges into one, which is love. Get merged into it. The fifth word in our Simran is to get merged into the ultimate reality. So we are basically that. And once we rise above, we merge there. So I think today I have explained as a friend and as a foe about the mind. So I think the time is passing through. So I think Michael can decide that how much time is there now to listen to the talks of the master.
Yeah, we forgot about the time while we are enjoying your nectar.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chang.
Thank you.
That was
Thank you.
so
Thank you.
amazing. I even want to listen to it again to get more and more out of it.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
thank you. We appreciate every word. And
Yeah.
please fix your Telegram so you can chat, godly chat in our group. There is so many people. We have computer experts in the group. You know, there is
Okay.
Puneet, there is
I
Rohit.
think Puneet can help me. He will write to me.
Yeah,
He'll send me a WhatsApp instructions to know how to really do that.
yeah. You
And
just
then
have to download the Telegram group, and we will add you.
that is already there. I have downloaded that. I am on it, but
Okay,
I do not know how to really load things onto that.
Oh, okay, okay. Puneet,
Because
so yeah,
Puneet
we
will
will show
help
you.
because I'll send it to Puneet and Puneet can load it there. Now, as
Okay.
I small little clips, I have made about that, the potential of power of attention. Sometimes I explain. Then I explain the democracy of the self, how
Mm-hmm.
body and mind can join with the soul, With love and devotion, the body joins with the soul. But the mind can only join once you give it knowledge, because it is knowledge based, information based. So the knowledge, if it is given to the mind, that mind also join hands with the soul, then it becomes omnicracy, because that soul is going to manage the mind and the body both. What is happening today, that body is managing the mind, and mind and body together are managing the soul like a donkey. They use it. So this is how, if we can really give this knowledge to the mind, that look, mind, you sometimes get so sad and you get into traps, and ugly things keep on happening with you. If you rely on the soul has got all the solutions, because it has got divine attributes. First of all, it is love, which is caring, love, compassion, mercy, forgiveness, because the other fellow doesn't know that he has got a soul, so you got to explain him. So love, compassion, mercy, forgiveness, wisdom. Wisdom is how to select information of the mind, the knowledge you have to pick up and then act on it. So this is what it is. Then patience is there, that humility, and then state of art planning ability and its execution ability. And let us face as it comes, and justice. These are divine attributes which have got all the solutions of life, my dear. There's nothing left, because mind does not have solutions. It'll keep on referring to the past and to the future. Fears and worries will keep on spinning your attention, whereas attention has got all the solutions with you. So how simple it is to rely on the divine attributes which are already with you, my dear. So that's how we can really understand our own self, We can understand our self much better if we learn how to ignore the mind, and then with state of art planning ability and execution ability, we can guide the mind and make him a friend to come along with us. Please let us enjoy. Oh, my dear mind, you are part of the universal mind. You will enjoy there. There are much more possibilities for you to work on the universal mind, so that I can go beyond. Because without the mind, you cannot cross this. You got to take the mind along with you to the edges, So what I say sometimes, that you got to go to the limits of intellect and then you go beyond. Because limits of intellect are in the universal mind. And once you go there, because till then, you got to go along with the mind, and mind with all that reasoning and doubts, as Ishwar Puriji keeps on telling you, that it creates doubts, And then you can sort out all these doubts, and then you got to go to the limits of that and then go beyond. It becomes so easy. That's right. Thank you very much for today's talk.
Welcome,
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's do 5 minutes or maybe 2 minutes of meditation, and then I'll play master.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Ishwar Seafood. And I thought that it would be criminal on my behalf if I deprived you all of having the same experience that I experienced. And he has been kind enough to take time out of his very busy schedule, time away from his own family and all of the many things that we all are involved in during these holidays, to be here with us today. And without further ado, let us greet our brother, whom I affectionately call Puri Sahib. Puri Sahib, please. And perhaps Puri Sahib will be moved out of his compassion to share with you his insights on sadhana and the role of the Master's grace on the path. And then afterwards, perhaps he will be even more compassionate and entertain some questions from you. Acha, please.
My good friend Bhagwan Ra Africa, brothers and sisters and friends whom I have known earlier and friends whom I am knowing today, I greet you on the celebration of Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is a very recent movement in this country. Hardly 30 years. We never heard of it here. The name Kwanzaa may be new, but the celebration has been going on for thousands of years. The spirit of Kwanzaa can be traced back, even in literature, 4,000 years in the African continent. The spirit of Kwanzaa has existed even earlier than that. Throughout the world, wherever there has been the spirit of mystic knowledge that has come and been shared with human beings, we all want to find the truth. Mostly for one reason: we are unhappy. I find very few happy people looking for the truth. I find a lot of unhappy people because of their unhappiness, looking for the truth, looking for God, looking for salvation. It is the unhappiness of this world that makes us look for the truth. If you go around in this world, and I had a great opportunity to travel around the world, maybe 50 or 60 times around this globe, this earth. There's hardly anybody I can say who was happy. Some people looked happy from a distance. They were rich, they had big mansions, and they had all the food, services, automobiles, cars, television sets, all the creature comforts of the world, servants, slaves. When I had a chance to go and stay with them and spend 2 or 3 days, I found they were the most unhappy people. And none of these things was able to give them happiness. People try to find out the cause of their happiness. And it is very difficult to know why we are unhappy. When we look into our own self, we find that the real cause of unhappiness is that we are lonely. Loneliness is the cause of unhappiness. We try to overcome that loneliness by making relationships in this world, by acquiring things of this world. We think that these things will become ours, and then we will remove our unhappiness. all these acquisitions we do, whether of material things or of friendships and relationships, are of no avail, because we find at the end of our life that they don't belong to us, that they do not go with us. I am very happy today that we are meeting in a funeral home. There was one mystic, Kabir, in India, who said the best place to teach spirituality is in a cemetery or a funeral home. It should be a place where you are close to the knowledge of death. You should be sure that we are all going to die. When we know we are going to die, we look back again on the things that we have been trying to acquire, and we find none of those things go with us. In fact, it is only when we are attending a funeral, thoughts of God come to us more deeply than any other time. There is a story about the same mystic, Kabir, which is narrated in India. That one man wanted to go and meet him, so he went to his house and found that Kabir was not there. His wife, Mata Loi, was there. She said, well, Kabir has just gone to the funeral of somebody. In fact, he has gone to the cremation. You can go to the cemetery and go and meet him. He said, how will I recognize him? He says, Kabir thinks of the Lord all the time. And because of that, there is a bright halo around him and on top of his head. You will have no problem. When you go to the cemetery, you will see there is one man who is constantly thinking of the Lord, and therefore there is a light shining above his head. And from that you will be able to find out who is Kabir. So this man went to the cemetery, and there he saw a lot of people, and they saw the body of one person who had died being burnt in the crematorium, and he saw there was light on the heads of so many people. He did not know who was Kabir. He watched, and gradually the ceremony ended, and the people left the cemetery and began to walk out. As they left the gate, many of the lights were extinguished. As they walked another half a mile, most of the others were extinguished. When he walked back with the crowd, after a mile or so, he found there was only one man on whose head the light was still shining. That was Kabir. We think of the Lord, but we forget it as soon as we go away from our place of worship, from our satsang, from our place where we are thinking of the Lord. A funeral home is great to remind us that death is inevitable for this human body. And therefore, whatever we are trying to acquire while in this human body is of no avail whatsoever. When we are in the human body, we take this physical world to be real. And that is why we go about touching things and say these are solid things, we like them. When we tell them that the truth is in the form of a spirit, we like to believe it, but we don't. We don't believe it. It's not as real as our body and is not as real as our physical world. Therefore, although the spirit world may be immortal, may be existing forever, although the Lord in spirit form may be inside us for all times, we cannot recognize it. We do not in fact believe it. If a person truly believes that God is in the form of a spirit inside us, that person cannot believe that this world is looking around is real and worth acquiring. A person who is conscious of the presence of God inside in spirit form can never run out to acquire anything of this world. Neither money, wealth, fame, fortune. They are all like running after shadows to get something. Therefore, such a person will never look out for anything that it is worth acquiring. Nor will such a person think anything worth worshipping outside of the spirit within. If a person wants to remove loneliness by acquiring the company of a permanent immortal spirit, looks around for things that are not spirit, that are not even spiritual. What is it outside this, in this world, outside our body, that we can call truly spiritual. And what can we worship in this world? We go out and look at the things, the objects, the stones and the mountains and the valleys and the trees and the plants. They are not worth worshipping. They don't even speak to us. We imagine what they are saying. We love to see these natural things, but they are not worth worshipping because we do not see the spirit. Are the birds that sing in the sky worth worshipping? There are people in India who are worshipping birds, thinking they are the vehicles of gods and goddesses. Are these birds worth worshipping? When you go and hear their chirping, they chirp nice and sweet. They tweet about, but they do not talk to us. When we interpret their chirping, it is our own mind interpreting it. We don't even know how to call these birds. And the birds are therefore not worth chirping. Like a little boy told his mother, "Mama, there's a void." The mother said, "No, child, that is a bird." "No, Mama, that's a void." Mother said, "No, that's a bird." And he said, "But Mama, it chirps like a void." There the mother understood, it's just a matter of language. It's just a matter of the sound we are making. It means nothing. These words that we use to express anything mean nothing unless there is a spiritual content to them. By describing these things, we find that we are unable to find anything worth worshipping. We look at birds, animals, things, stones, none of them is worth worshipping. They don't speak to us. But there is someone who speaks to us, is a human being who speaks to us. We don't want to worship a human being. Why? We are human ourselves. We don't have to worship a human being. We want to worship the Lord. Particularly in democracies, where we have been trained to live with the idea we are all equal. How can one human being start worshipping another human being? It's not possible. It's not real. It's not convincing enough. Therefore, we are left with nothing to worship in this whole world. Yet we are in a dilemma. Because we are in the physical body, we are taking only the physical things to be real. And if physical things alone are real, we have to find something physical to get our knowledge from. There is nothing physical that we can get knowledge from because we ourselves have the knowledge inside us. So we go back to the teachings of various spiritual masters who have answered this question. What is it in this world that is worth worshipping? What is in this world that is worth getting to and finding your answers? And they say there is nothing in this world worth worshipping. The only thing worth worshipping is the Lord Himself who created us. And the only thing that makes us have a contact with the Lord is going on to the very spirit which makes us conscious and makes us alive. Therefore, to say there is anything outside of ourselves worth worshipping is a fallacy. The only thing worshipping is that which is within ourselves, enclosed in our spirit, enclosed in our consciousness, and arises from our knowledge that we are alive. The fact we can say, we are here, I am, that which says I am, contains the Creator and the Spirit, and therefore the only thing worshipping is within that I am. Nothing outside worth worshipping. And there is no answer anybody can give you from outside. You go to all the religions of the world. It's amazing study. And they all say the same thing. You want to find the truth? Don't go outside anywhere. Go within your own self. They specify that while you are physical, while you have a physical body, and while you think this is a physical world, you want to find the truth, go within this physical body. Even if you want to find something non-physical, truly spiritual, it will only be found in the physical body while you are in the physical body. The answer is so clear. Do not waste your time going anywhere. Do not run anywhere. Stay within yourself and you will find the truth. That's a very good answer that has been given by all the spiritual masters, all the teachers, all the founders of modern day religions, and all the founders of religions that have gone away. Go within yourself and you'll find the truth. How come none of us follow that? How come we are running to the churches, temples, mosques? We are running to all stone and brick built buildings outside. How come we are running to satsangs? How come we are running to meetings? How come we are running around the world to find the truth? And the very people who found the truth say, by running around anywhere, you cannot find any truth. You must stay still, stay where you are, and go within yourself, you'll find the truth. How come we don't heed this great message given by all the spiritual teachers? The reason is simple. We do try to go within, and we close our eyes to go within, and we see nothing but darkness. If we close our eyes and find darkness, how can we go within? There's a nice little story they tell in India of an old woman living in a village who was searching for something in the street light. Those old kind of lights which they used to put up with a lamp at night and extinguish in the morning, small village light. And she is looking very anxiously for something. A young man comes and says, "Ma'am, have you lost something? Can I help you?" She said, "Yes, son, I was doing some sewing with a needle and I dropped my needle and I can't find it." The young man said, "Ma'am, can I help you find it?" She said, "Certainly, son." So he also started looking. After a while, he says, "Ma'am, have you any idea where you dropped the needle?" She said, "Yes, I dropped it in my house." But ma'am, why are you looking for it in the street? "Because I have no light in my house myself." We laugh over the story. This is our story. The thing we have to find is within ourselves. We close our eyes, it's dark there, therefore we open our eyes and run into illusion to find it. How are we going to find it? This is our story. We are looking in the wrong direction. The direction to find the truth is not outside. It never was outside. It's always inside. And we can't go inside. There we are stuck with a dilemma. And we have been stuck with this dilemma for millions of years. How can we go inside when it's dark? And how can we look for it outside when it doesn't exist there? That's where we are stuck. We want to see the truth. We want to see the Lord. We want to see the Creator. But we want to see Him in the form in which we accept reality. That's the physical form. Lo and behold, from time to time, the Creator walks in our midst in the physical form. But that's the only form we are willing to accept. Not that is the form of the Creator. That is the form we are willing to accept. But the Creator comes in all the forms. Everything you see around you is the Creator. The Creator exists in everything, animate and inanimate. And more so and more accessible in the animate things which can speak. And the highest of all these physical animate forms in which the Creator exists is the human form. Back to square one, why should we go to a human being? We are a democracy. We are all equal. I must say that some countries and some nations in this world who had kings and monarchs had an advantage over us. Because they accepted that one person could be king, all powerful, and we are willing to worship a king. But when you come to a democracy like United States and the Constitution here there are no kings at all. We are all kings. In fact, the people who talk of the most royal stuff are those who have nothing in their pockets. Here there's a difference. We are all trying to be kings and none of us are kings. When the king walks in our midst, we don't recognize him. Because he's a human being. How do we recognize a king who walks like a beggar? Supposing a king walked like a king, would we recognize him? No. We would say, he is too high. We'll put him on a pedestal and we'll not talk to that king. How can we become friends with the king? Only if the king wears a mask, becomes incognito, wears a disguise, that he's poor like us. When the king wears a disguise and becomes like us, we are willing to talk to him and be friends and share our heart's sufferings and our unhappiness with that person. And he can then take us back to the truth. What will he tell us? He will say, you may look at me like a human being, like yourself. I am not trying to tell you I have anything more than you have. We are both the same. The same spirit, the same creator is in both of us. But if you really want to fight, go within and I will tell you a way where the darkness inside will be dispelled and substituted by light. I can tell you that because it has so happened with me. I met a person who was a beggar. I met a person who was a carpenter. And I wondered why he was a carpenter when there were kings around, physical kings. I met a person who was a weaver. And he was a weaver, weaving cloth, whereas he had the knowledge of the truth himself. There was a cobbler, mending shoes. And there were kings falling at his feet for the knowledge they got, and he kept on mending his shoes. Why did these people, who had the knowledge of the truth, who had manifested the light within themselves, who had actually experienced the Lord in spirit form while they were in their physical body, why did they continue to be so poor, like weavers and cobblers and carpenters and shepherds? Why? Because that was the only way we would accept them as our friends. We would never accept a king. India has had many kings. There was one king who wanted to know how people live, particularly in the forest where there are no facilities for them. He put on a disguise that he was a poor man and he walked into the forest. And there he met a man who was to chop wood and take it and sell the wood in the city, make a few bucks, come back, buy some food and feed his family and live on starvation diet every day. The king went and saw, he said, I have great compassion for this man. So he went to the man and said, look, brother, I am actually the king. He said, I don't believe that. He said, okay. Well, I am not the king, but I know the people, the ministers of the king. I don't believe that. Well, I don't know the ministers, I know the gatekeeper. He said, I don't even believe that. He said, come on with me, I'll show you. He said, I don't want to waste my time. The king tried his best to convince the man to come to the palace. And the man refused. He wouldn't believe. He said, you are a friend of mine because you have come to chop wood like me. I'll be a friend, but that's it. So the king chopped wood with the other woodcutter. And he went and sold, and they lived together, and they became friends. And when they were friends, the king said, let us today go to the palace and see if we can recognize some people. So by that time, he was a friend. He had begun to have trust in that man. The man was like him. Therefore, he could be a friend. Therefore, he walked with the friend up to the door of the palace. And the king gave a signal, and the guards saluted and opened the door. And this woodcutter said, I can't believe my eyes. I can't believe you can have this kind of a relationship with these guards, that they can open the palace door, and you know them so well, but still you shown me. Okay, I'm willing to be with you up to this stage. He said, come inside. He said, no, we'll be shot by these guards. Come on, they've opened the gate for us. With great difficulty, the king persuaded him to enter the palace. Went to the office of the ministers, and he said, I know them too. I don't believe it, but let's see. With great difficulty, the king persuaded him to talk to the secretaries and the ministers, who of course recognized the king, who told them, keep quiet and lead us into the inner chamber. To cut a long story short, at every stage there was a disbelief on the part of the woodcutter. But as the king took him inside and said, I am going to introduce you to the real king. I know him personally. He said, I still don't believe it after all the miracles you have shown me of entering this palace. And he goes inside the royal chamber and sees the throne in front. And this simple woodcutter, who brings his friend woodcutter from the forest, goes and sits on the throne and says, I am the king. And the woodcutter says, if you were the king, why didn't you tell me in the forest? He said, I told you many times. Ultimately, I stopped telling you. You only came with me when I told you I'm a woodcutter. Do you believe that we are in the same state? It's our story. We are so lost in this forest that even the Lord, when He has to come in the form of a human being, we will not believe that human being. No, this must be an imposter. We have a very special machine attached in our head to our consciousness, which is called the mind. It's a very nice machine. It yaps. It's a great computer. It talks all the time. It never sleeps. We sleep, and that machine called the human mind never sleeps. Yaps all the time. It does good yapping. Sometimes we can make use of it, like we can make use of a computer. It's horrible when we don't make use of it, but that yap starts making use of us. That's horrible. Because when it yaps and we take it seriously and listen to it, it does nothing but two things. It creates doubt in our mind and creates fear in ourselves. That's the role of the mind. Don't blame it. It was supposed to create the doubt and the fear so that with truth we should be able to overcome it. It's performing its function so that we should know that the spirit of the Lord lies beyond fear, beyond doubt, beyond the mind. It's a message to us that if you think that by thinking several times you can find a solution, you'll never make it. In fact, people come to me and they say, we are certain of this thing. I said, are you sure? It's all right. Think about it a little further. And after 10 minutes, they're not sure. This thinking mind can make a certainty into a doubt. It is such a strong power, and yet it sits inside us. To overcome that, it's very difficult, especially when we find the Lord has come in a human form. Most of the time when Lord comes in human form, we don't follow. A few handful of people may like to follow. Most of us follow when He's dead and can tell us nothing. Most of us follow when He cannot say no. Most of us follow Him when He speaks the same language that our mind is speaking. Most of us follow when the mind says, that's what He's telling me. Most of us follow the inner voice when it is the same voice as our mind that is creating the fear and doubt in us all the time. It's a very big difficulty for us. How to overcome this difficulty? Here are these people. We don't accept anything that is physical. Even spirit must become physical. The word that is spirit must become flesh before we'll acknowledge it. Yet when it's flesh, we want to crucify it. This is our state. We must kill the flesh because it's flesh. But we can't accept the word. It hasn't become flesh. What are we doing? What have we got out of our life? How can we be spiritual? This is the problem, dilemma facing us. How can a person, how can a human being carry with it the spirit of the Creator, Spirit of God, and communicate with us? There is one language. Fortunately, that language is not the language of the mind. Fortunately, that language is not the language of thought. Fortunately, that language does not require any time and does not require any space. Fortunately, that language has no cause and effect relationship. Fortunately, that language comes spontaneously. Fortunately, we all know that language. That's the language of love. That's the only language that such a person who walks here can really transmit the Spirit into us. If we think that we can have that transmission through thoughts and words and books, we can be reading those books all our life and get nothing out of it. Except conceit, ego, haughtiness. I have read more than you. I'll tell you another story of a king you might have heard before. Another king in India, his name was King Janak. And he wanted to find the truth. He wanted to find the real truth, not the truth of scholarship, not the truth of high words, high-sounding words. He called all his secretaries and ministers, and he said, how can I find the real truth? I want to know why we are here. What's the purpose of life? Why are we here? Are we just born here like cats and dogs and birds, just to live, chirp, die, reproduce the species and die? Is that the whole purpose of the human race? Why is the human being different from all others? Why do we not go instinctively toward things? Why do we have reason? Why do we have free will? Why do we have choices to make? Why do we have guilt? Why do we have conscience? Why are we different? What's the purpose of having all these things in us? I want the real knowledge. His ministers and secretaries said, Your Majesty, you happen to be living in a great country called Hindustan or India. It is full of knowledgeable people. You can go to any village, you'll find holy people. Some of them
Let's try today meditation behind the eyes with love and devotion, where you visualize your beloved and you express your love to the beloved in the best way you can and see the results of it. Please assume that your body is your house and you are sitting on the 6th floor of that house behind the eyes. First, establish yourself in the meditation chamber behind the eyes, then visualize your beloved, then start any kind of meditation you want, including Simran, listening to the sound, or conversation with the Master.